All right, good afternoon. And for those of our media who are back home, good morning to you as we welcome you to our 2021 Women's NCAA Division II National Championship Game press conference. The game will feature the number 1 seed and undefeated Lubbock Christian taking on number 3 seed Drury. The game will be played Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time at the Greater Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, Ohio. To our media members who have been with us throughout this week, please use that Q&A feature in our Zoom conference and ask your question. I'll then read your question to our guest. And please, if you would indicate which coach that you would like your question asked. Joining us are the head coaches in our championship game, Steve Gomez for Lubbock Christian and Amy Eagan of Drury. Coaches, both of you, congratulations on getting to this championship game. I will begin with Coach Gomez. Coach, kind of an opening statement and your thoughts on how the first couple of days of the tournament have gone for your team.
Boy, I'm just fortunate to, be hanging out still for a few more days. Tough games always. There's so many good teams. I know Amy probably say the same, but just a few breaks here and there, or we'd both be flying home at any moment. And it's just been a great stay. They've done a great job making it a good week here now for us. But obviously, you just got to have some fortunate breaks. I mean, we just survived last night, and this time of year, whatever a possession happens, a shot goes in, a turnover happens or doesn't happen. So we're just trying to eke out another minute, and it looks like her team and our team both love playing together. It's fun teams. It looks like environments that kids are enjoying. They just want to make it last as long as possible. And fortunately, we're both going to be in the last game of the year that we could play. So that's all we can do.
To our media members, you can go ahead and begin to submit your questions, and I will go to Coach Eagan. Also, opening question for you. Your team has had to come from, or opening statement, I guess. Your team has had to come from behind the first couple of days, but you've been able to recover, Coach Eagan.
Yeah. Obviously we don't want to start from behind in any game, but I'm proud of them that we were able to fight back, and he said it exactly right. When you get to this time of the year, as I tell everyone, you got to have some luck. You got to have some things go your way. And I think we've been fortunate enough in both games to have that happen. And we're looking forward, obviously, to play, one of the best teams in the nation, and they're so talented. At this time, it's like we're glad that we made it through the week, but both of us obviously want to finish strong and just go out and battle. That's what it's about, going out and battle.
All right, thank you, coaches. Again, I'll encourage our media members to go ahead and send those questions in. Coach Eagan, I'll stay with you. Unique situation for you as being a first-year head coach of a program that certainly already had a lot of momentum with Coach Molly Miller prior. What was your philosophy coming into this season to try and blend your style with what Drury had already accomplished?
Yeah, I've said over and over, I think I was fortunate enough to be here last year as an assistant in regards to getting to know the kids and what their strengths and their weaknesses are. And, I think COVID just changed a lot for us this year. I'm sure as well for them, but, I've really just tried to keep it simple for our kids. I knew obviously the style of play that we did last year was very successful, but I knew graduating what we graduated that we weren't going to be that team and be able to completely do that. So I think we've made some good adjustments to fit our personnel, to fit our strengths, to fit our weaknesses. I think the neat thing about it for me as my first year as a head coach here is that the kids have been willing to do that. I think that says a lot about them because, when you're 32-0, and you lose one of the best coaches in the country, very much so they could have been like, hey, we were 32-0 doing it this way. And this is how we want to do it. And they've just really been so good and so flexible with understanding the why to what we need to do. So credit goes to them.
Has there been a player on this team that's really kind of stepped up for you and taken over that leadership role? Obviously, you have the player of the year in Paige Robinson, but that doesn't always mean that she is the leader or even the vocal leader.
I think we got a lot of leaders on our team. We're very veteran. We got 6 seniors that have played in a lot of games, played in a lot of big time games. And I'm just a big believer in everybody leads in a different way. And I think Paige obviously has taken her game to that next level and really does a great job on and off the floor leading us. But we have a lot of other kids around her that also do that and lead in different ways. So it's definitely a team effort when you talk about leadership for us and obviously what we've accomplished.
After falling early in the tournament past couple of times and now getting back to this championship game for the first time since 2004, for your team, Coach Eagan, was it almost like a relief to get that first one on Tuesday?
We haven't talked a lot about that. I probably wasn't even as aware. I mean, obviously, I think, Drury's been here quite a few times, and I know the success of the program, but, we've really just been taking it one game at a time and approaching it as, hey, let's just be us and let's do the best we can with this team this year and see where that takes us. I mean, I've told them all year, we can't compare. We can't compare to last year's team. We can't compare to years before. And so that's really just been our philosophy, is just go out every night and just be us and really just obviously try to execute the game plan and see where that puts us.
Coach Gomez, I'll turn to you. You were the national champions in 2019. Of course, no tournament a season ago, but this is now the third NCAA Division II path for your teams. If you take COVID elements out of the equation, what is different about this year's team, this year's path than maybe the prior two?
Every team is so unique. Like Coach Eagan saying, some players return, but the personality always changes just with a few different people. And this has been another really fun team. They've really learned to be adaptable through the year, and hopefully game in, game out, we've had to adapt to different situations, and we've had some good battles lately. But, it's really an interesting crew. I don't know how different it is. We're a little more mobile maybe than a few years ago. Every year your personnel changes, and like Coach Egan's done a tremendous job with some of the same kids. They're playing great again in a different style maybe, and we're just trying to do the same thing. We just want to make the right decision at the right time, and sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But hopefully the mental approach doesn't change much year to year. Hopefully in our kids, just the style that we play does. Again, we've survived to play another day, and we'll hit 40 more minutes, and we can have a really good battle with Drury.
I'll kind of ask a similar question to you as I did to Coach Eagan about Paige Robinson and her role. How about Allie Schulte for you? Obviously a veteran All-American. Then you have an Emma Middleton who has played very well in the back half of the season, also an All-American who might have been more of a surprise type All-American for you. The development of your players, how do you see them grow over the years? And the success that your program has had has really helped with that.
Well, these days kids are so fast if they're not getting what they want, they always want to change real fast. And we're fortunate to have kids that 2 and 3 years ago that now are really productive, that didn't even play much for us as young kids. And so I think it says something to their maybe maturity, their stability, because these days everybody jumps on the transfer portal as fast as possible if they're not getting what they want. And I just appreciate our team unity. Those kids that you say, Emma, who's continued even this year to come on. She's gotten better in the last month and a half. Allie, you look at a girl like Paige who can do so much. I mean, she's so versatile, but even not just the skill level, but just her decision making, her maturity. She played great the other day. I know in that game against Lander, or yesterday in that game against Lander, in a physical game, but just keeps her composure. You just like seeing kids succeed that play the game the right way, and so. Hopefully Allie can continue to do that. Paige obviously does that, but it's the teammates that also help with that as well. I mean, these two teams are here because of teams, not because of a player. And so everybody's going to have to contribute tomorrow.
Coach Gomez, I'll stay with you, and I will bring up the current situation that we are in this country. And obviously in your region, things have been maybe a little worse, or certainly have been highlighted as being not a great situation down in your region. How has the current pandemic affected your team on the floor, off the floor, with the young ladies having to battle through it, maybe situations that they've had at home or all kinds of adversity that they've had to deal with? And maybe how's that made your team stronger and closer?
Yeah, from last year when the season ended abruptly for all of our teams, it was sort of strange. And through the year, really West Texas, Fortunately, we've got a pretty good situation out there. I mean, we're not too overreactive to the situation. We've been able to have fans all year. Obviously, we've had kids in and out, or teams maybe had a positive test, so we got games canceled. But the key to our kids, they've had a word of the year is adaptability. Hopefully, on and off the court, they've learned that basketball is not the most important thing. So if we get a game canceled, there's a lot more important things in life than that. And our school's done a tremendous job of keeping things as normal as possible, both in the classroom and in the stands for games and our athletic department. So while everybody has situations that may be overblown at times, we've just plugged along and dealt with it. And it really hasn't hampered us. It may have strengthened us in some ways to just deal with whatever the day gives you. Let's make the best of it. And, again, we're not discounting the fact that it's been a struggle for lots of people, but fortunately, we've been able to handle it pretty well in terms of lockdown, shutdowns, all that stuff.
Coach Eagan, I'll address the same question to you at Drury. How has it affected your team and maybe seen your team grow and become closer as the year's gone along?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what he said. In our first meeting, I was very upfront and honest with the kids and just told them it is going to be a different year. Nothing is going to be the same. And I really thought that the teams or programs that could stay the most positive throughout the ups and downs and adapt the best throughout the ups and downs were going to be the teams and programs that were there at the end. And I just think that our kids have just handled that phenomenal. We didn't have fans. Our kids were used to playing in front of 1,500 fans, and we didn't have fans. So talk about the adjustment to come out on your home floor and be able to execute that energy and that without them there. It's just different. So we had to adapt to that a little bit with it. We had a 22-day shutdown in the middle of January because of some COVID issues, and then had to make up some games. We were playing 7 games and 14 days. And it was a lot of adaptability to things. We had to change a lot of what we did on the floor, off the floor. And our kids just handled it really, really well with a positive attitude. And I think that again contributes a lot to what we've been able to do and then being here. So proud of them for that. And now it's just a matter of, we both COVID tested this morning, so we're done with that till tomorrow. So now it's just a matter of going out and having some fun, obviously, and executing the best that we can.
All right, let's turn our attention to the championship game on Friday. Coach Eagan, I'll stay with you. I'm sure, obviously, now you've lost your sleep by watching the film of Lubbock Christian and trying to come up with as much data as you can. Tell us about some of the challenges that you anticipate with Coach Gomez's team.
Well, I anticipate a lot of challenges. They're very, 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 very talented and very, very well coached. Both sides, I'm sure, have watched a lot of film on each other. I think it's going to come down to, at least from our side, some of our players just being able to make some plays. They're so long and tall and big. They can switch 1 through 5. We don't see that a lot. We try to do some of that, but we don't see that a lot across the board playing against that in our league. So that's going to be a little bit of challenge with some of the offensive stuff that we do. They can mix up their defense, man-to-man, 2-3, 3-2. So we've really worked on some of that throughout the year to prepare for some of that. But they're just very talented. You talk about trying to stop them on the offensive end. There's not one kid that you can really just say, hey, if we stop this kid, we're going to be okay, because they're so talented. So again, I think it's going to be a day. It's going to be a battle. And I think the team that can come out and do the little things and make the most plays that day is going to be the team that probably comes out on top.
Coach Eagan, as I was looking at your roster this morning, I believe you have 3 current starters and at least 4 players who played against Lubbock Christian in the quarterfinals 2 seasons ago. How much will that help those ladies in this game to, at least they've gone against Lubbock Christian, who right now has the long win streak and the defending national champs, to say we can play with this team?
Well, I think for them, it's just about the experience of already being in this situation and in a high level game. I don't think it's so much against Lubbock, because just like he said, every year it's a different team. They do different things. So I think it's more of just having that experience of being in big games and playing in big games that's going to help them. And hopefully they can kind of settle everyone else down into that situation, and get them to understand that, hey, it's a game. We have to go out, we have to settle in, and we just have to execute.
Coach Gomez, I'll turn to you. Your initial film watch of Drury and your thoughts on them, and again, some of the challenges that you're expecting to face on Friday night from Drury.
Yeah, obviously they're very resilient. They're a mentally tough team. I mean, like she said, getting down in some games early on, but they're just really steady. And again, number of kids that can score a number of ways. They not only shoot the three, they shoot the pull-up jumpers well, they post well. Offensively diverse with kids that can, and they play together well. It's not just an isolation team that just goes one-on-one. And so it's just a tricky deal this time of year because you don't have a ton of time to prepare, but at the same time, you got to rely on what you've seen all year. And it's hard to simulate what they do with other teams in our conference. They defend really well. And I know in years past, they've done a good job pressing. They defend with zone some well. So it's just one of those games in a day turnaround. A lot of both teams are going to have to rely on, like she's saying, experience. They've got kids that have been through some wars. We've got some older upper class kids. And so the point of somebody's going to have to make some plays that maybe weren't even have anything to do with us as coaches. And it's just going to come down to, wow, that was a good play. You got to give them credit. And, we'll give them the credit and they make those plays. And if we make the play, we'll be happy with our kids making those plays. But it's just going to be a fun battle. You just like to play great teams and just see what happens. I mean, both of us have had games so far up here that honestly could have gone either way. And we've both seen that. But we happen to be sitting here to play tomorrow and it's going to come down to the same deal. I just hope to stay out of the way and not screw it up, let our kids make good plays and just have a fun night. I mean, it's just such an honor to get a chance to play again.
Coach, in some way, and I know this question came up in the post-game press conference to Allie last night, having so many games decided early in the contest and not coming down to the last shot, did that benefit your team last night to at least know they can come from behind, they can play in a game in the late stages when you've had so few of those?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, the last few weeks we've had a couple of those of deficits in the fourth quarter and even a possession by possession game. So you always have experience counts a lot. It doesn't count on the scoreboard to start these games, but in those situations, again, you can rely on the fact that we've been through some battles, and you just got to trust your kids. I mean, you just have to trust the players to make those plays.
Lastly, for each of you, you guys had an opportunity to kind of visit just before we came on with this Zoom chat, and you were just talking about some of the challenges and laughing with each other about the early turnaround and those types of things. Is it get to this portion of the season? It's about the game and trying to win a championship, but about the relationships that you build both on and off the floor between coaches and players too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. What she did at Truman State, obviously she's, you can say first year coach at Drury, but obviously she's had a great experience coaching. And it's fun to get to visit those people. People all across the country you don't get a chance to talk with much maybe or see, but then you watch their teams and you think, wow, that's impressive what they do. And like she is coming in after Coach Miller, that takes some guts just to want that job and come and take over. And so it's neat to see that transition happen well. Drury's, again, that's a name that's been around for a lot of years. It's not like they just recently have gotten good. And so it is fun to get to see those quality programs, and we just want to honor the game, honor our opponents, and just go out there and play as hard as we can and enjoy it. And hopefully in the years ahead, we'll be able to continue to be in touch and dialogue as peers and as co-coaches of our teams.
Coach Eagan, I'll flip the same thing to you about being on the national stage here with this team and the enjoyment that you and your players have had and getting to meet and be around these other coaches and players.
Yeah, I mean, I feel very blessed to just be able to coach against somebody that's such a great coach. I mean, for me, it's trying to figure out, not coaching against him before, trying to figure out what he's going to do. And I'm not sure you can, because he's so good at what he does. And then just to play, I mean, you watch his kids play. how hard they play, how well they play together. I mean, you can tell they love each other, they play for each other, and just the respect for them with how they play the game. I think it's just huge. So again, I'm looking forward to it. I think you can build some great relationships through obviously coaching. But you always talk about respecting the other team and what they do and how they get there. And we definitely have a lot of respect for Lubbock and their program and what they do year in and year out. It's not easy. And they have done that. So we're looking forward again to the battle with them.
Coaches, thanks so much for your time today. We really enjoyed watching your teams play and visiting with you here today. And I look forward to the chance we can do this in person at a dais and not via Zoom. But we certainly appreciate everything that you guys have done this year and your student athletes. And we remind everybody that the national championship game will be Friday night at the Columbus Convention Center, 8 p.m. Eastern. Number 1 seed, Lubbock Christian, taking on number 3 seed, Drury. Coaches, thank you for your time. Best of luck on Friday.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck.